So at the moment, the Tories are trying to rebrand themselves as the party of working people. That sound you can hear is the sound of satire being cruelly, mercilessly bludgeoned to death. What they're about to do is implement these huge cuts to tax credits. These are top-ups to people's pay because the pay they receive isn't enough for them and their families to live on. Now, most people in Britain, in poverty, at least half, are people in work, and these are people who they get up in the morning and they earn their poverty day after day. And these are people who range from supermarket workers to cleaners, people who keep this country ticking, if you like, day after day, without whom we wouldn't function as a society. But they come home each day with a pay packet that doesn't let them support them or their kids properly. So that's why that pay is topped up. 3 million households every year are going to be about £1,350 worse off. And for millions of other households, they're going to lose a load of money as well. So now the government will go, hang on a minute, we're introducing a national living wage. Actually, what they've done is just rebrand an increased minimum wage of £9 an hour by 2020. Now, any increase in minimum wage is a good thing. Of course it is. But it nowhere near compensates for the cutting of tax credits. And the living wage is calculated on the basis of lots of things, including in-work benefits, which this government are going to cut. Whatever happens now, Labour have to focus on this every single day, because the Conservatives, when they have policies, what they do is they harp on about it over and over and over again until it's kind of smashed into the skulls of the electorate. That's the kind of approach they have. They always have these lines, we're clearing up Labour's mess, Labour overspent, we're reforming welfare, and they say it over and over again. It's all based often on distortions or outright lies, but it is very effective, and Labour have to do the same thing. In order to get traction, cuts to tax credits, it's not very snappy. And when you have a policy which you can sum up in 3 words, that is when you successfully get a message across. So, for example, the bedroom tax, the poll tax, that was actually the community charge, but it was rebranded as something else by its opponents. Right to buy, which is the flogging off of social housing, and this government call it the right to buy, and if you oppose it, then they go, you oppose people's rights. This needs to be called the work penalty. You know, even if it's the shadow foreign secretary or shadow foreign ministers, all they need to be talking about now is the work penalty, which is working people having their wages slashed. We've got to have protests in towns and cities across the country. I think this has to be the big campaign now, because I think what it will do is it will not just undermine the Tories' narrative and story about being the party of working people, but millions of people who vote Conservative or UKIP are going to be angry about this. They're going to go, hang on a minute, the government go on about these people, they often quite a patronising way, but they go on about these people, hard-working Britons doing the right thing, and now, they're kicking them in the teeth, and they're going to leave their kids in colder homes, with fewer hot meals, with parents who are more and more stressed about bills that are ever more difficult to pay. But these aren't people, they can't just demonise these people like they need to unemployed people for being scroungers. So, for me, this is the big cause in the moment. We've got to be for something instead, so we should argue for a minimum wage of at least £10 an hour instead. That automatically reduces the amount we spend on in-work benefits like tax credits, so we can save the taxpayer money without making working households even poorer. This is something which I think can unite a big, broad coalition. So I want to hear your thoughts. How do we get involved? How do we force this issue on the agenda? How do we throw everything we've got at this to really make it the big central issue, and to get Labour as well to focus on this? Yes, there are lots of other things I need to talk about, but this as well. So I want to hear your thoughts about this. Maybe you voted Conservative, but you think, hang on a minute, making supermarket workers poorer and their kids, I don't think so. I want to hear from you as well. So keep the comments coming, subscribe as ever, and I will see you next time.